Our main event for UFC 284 in Perth, Australia is Alexander Volkanovski versus Islam Makhachev, as Alexander Volkanovski is looking to become a double champ and Islam Makhachev is looking to become the pound for pound #1 UFC fighter in the world, or actually MMA fighter in the world, because there's no one really competing with UFC at this point. So #1 MMA fighter in the world on the pound for pound list. So if you have not seen my early predictions before, I'm basically going to break down how these guys physically match up against each other and then how I think the fight will go. So let's get right into the video. We have Islam Makhachev versus Alexander Volkanovski, 23-1 Islam Makhachev and 25-1 Alexander Volkanovski. Alexander Volkanovski will be 2 years older and will be at a 4-inch height disadvantage. This is obviously at the 155-pound division. Alexander Volkanovski will have a 1-inch reach advantage and will be at a 4.5-inch leg reach disadvantage. For the previous fights for Islam Makhachev, his last fight was a dominant win over Charles Oliveira. The fight before that, he won against a Bobby Green that came in on short notice by KO ground and pound in the first round. Won against Dan Hooker, who also came in on short notice by first round. Kimura pretty much dominated him also. And it's probably his most competitive bout, if you can say so. Thiago Moises took him down and threatened him with a couple submissions, but that was pretty much his, I guess you could say, toughest test. But his most competitive matchup overall is dominant wins. He has lost before, but I'm talking about matchups in general, not him getting KO'd and all that. So probably his most competitive matchup was the Thiago Moises fight. For Alexander Volkanovski, he's coming off a very dominant win over Max Holloway in their third fight. A win over Korean Zombie, which was also pretty dominant, won by standing TKO. Pretty much dominant against Brian Ortega outside of the 2 deep submissions that he was in, and won a split decision against Max Holloway in the second fight. I thought he won all 3 fights. Some people will disagree, but I thought Volkanovski won all 3. Pretty much made it clear on that third fight. Let's get right into how I think this fight will go. I'm going to go with Makhachev. I think a lot of people are going with Makhachev. Probably almost everybody. Alexander Volkanovski is facing a really tough matchup here for him, especially coming up from featherweight, where he has fought at welterweight and lightweight before, but he's been used to fighting at featherweight. So coming up, being at a big weight disadvantage already, even for guys that Islam Makhachev does fight, they're already at a big weight disadvantage. So imagine imagine a featherweight coming up to lightweight fighting Islam Makhachev. Imagine the big weight disadvantage there for the guy he's fighting. So Alexander Volkanovski, I believe, is putting on a couple pounds of probably some muscle while he's been waiting to get this matchup. He was a backup fighter for UFC 280 in October for the Charles Oliveira Islam Makhachev fight. So he has been accustomed to the lightweight division a little bit. He did make weight for that bout, but for this one, I don't know. I just see Islam Makhachev getting the takedowns and pretty much wet blanketing him and then submitting him maybe towards the end of the fight, or I could see him winning by decision. I think on a round by round technicality basis here, I think Islam Makhachev might have a little bit of trouble taking him down early. I'm not saying that Volkanovski is going to defend him, like all of them or whatever, super early, but I think Islam Makhachev is going to weigh out the stand-up a little bit, see what kind of threat Alexander Volkanovski is. Alexander Volkanovski, the lightweight division, powerful, and I think the speed will kind of move up a little bit too. I think he'll be a lot faster. Back when he was in the lightweight division, he's not even really close to how skilled he is now. So I think Islam's going to probably evaluate the threat on the feet first before he goes in for a takedown. Volkanovski being a short, stocky guy is going to make it a little bit hard for Islam Makhachev to get the takedown here, but I think Islam will eventually be able to get him against the fence and take him down and then pretty much get Volkanovski to work off his back and tire him out, because he is moving up to a weight division. You can't really expect the cardio to be perfect there, but I guess we'll kind of see how it is. But you can't expect the cardio to be there for 5 rounds. Not saying that he's going to gas out, but what he's normally used to probably won't be there because he is putting on a little bit more weight. So also, for the first round, I think he's going to weigh out the threat on the feet a little bit. I think he's going to shoot him for a takedown. Maybe he doesn't get it, and Volkanovski kind of lands a couple good shots. And I think maybe Volkanovski might seal that first round, but I think it'll be super close. I think Islam is solid, pretty good on the feet. I think we saw that in that last fight when he hurt Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira was a little skittish on the feet too, but Islam Makhachev definitely has some good stand-up. But I do think Volkanovski is just going to be faster and powerful. More faster and more powerful than Islam Makhachev on the feet. So I think he'll probably get the best of Islam Makhachev on the feet, but there is still the threat of Islam Makhachev on the feet also. But I do think If it does stay on the feet, he'll probably outpoint Makhachev. I think he'll probably be even, and if he does get that takedown at the end of the round, I think it might win him the round. But for the second round, I think we'll see Islam Makhachev definitely make his reads and things from the first round after seeing the stand-up of Volkanovski and see how he reacts after he goes for a takedown. I think he's going to move him towards the fence a little bit more. Volkanovski, I think, is just going to move forward a lot. I think he's going to stay a little bit out of range and then just keep moving forward, trying to push Islam back a little bit. I think Islam Makhachev is probably going to stand his ground a little bit more here. Although he is the taller fighter and things like that, Volkanovski is still longer, technically, with a 1-inch reach advantage in this matchup. So he's going to have a little bit more range on Makhachev, but it's just an inch, really. But I think we'll see Volkanovski try to come in a little bit closer, and I think Islam needs to time those takedowns really well. Maybe it's moving around a little bit and trying to get him against the fence and take him down that way, or shoot in a really good takedown, use his strength to take him down because he is a really big dude, to take Volkanovski down and then just pretty much lay on him, grind him out on the ground, get Volkanovski to work. I think he's going to go for submissions early in this fight, Islam Makhachev is, but I think Volkanovski's pretty much going to tough his way out. You saw that with the Brian Ortega fight. He toughed his way out of super, super deep submissions, but I think eventually when Volkanovski starts to tire out a little bit from defending those submissions early in the fight, I think maybe you'll see in like the 4th or 5th round, he may get submitted just to Makhachev's pure size. So maybe like an arm triangle or like a Von Flue, just how big he is. You can see, like, you might be able to see him press his body weight into Volkanovski in this matchup. So that's what I'm going to go with. Islam Makhachev by submission in the 4th or 5th round or a decision, pretty much grinding out Volkanovski from round 2 to 5. Maybe Volkanovski steals a round in between then, but if Volkanovski's going to win a round, it'll probably be round 1 in all honesty. So that's how I see this fight going. It's going to be super tough for Volkanovski. I have low expectations for this fight in all actuality. I'm hoping for a fun fight. I'm hoping that Volkanovski performs here and does a lot better than I think he will do. So that's my prediction for this matchup, is Islam Makhachev by submission in the later rounds or a decision, a pretty clear decision, unanimous decision over Alexander Volkanovski. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you tell me in the comments down below who you think will win this matchup, and I'll see you guys next time.